Moscow is under siege, not in the traditional sense of armies encircling the city, but in a modern way, through drones, sanctions, and collapsing supply lines. While Putin hides deep in his bunker during these attacks, ordinary Russians are the ones facing the panic. That panic didn't start with this most recent drone strike, and it certainly won't end here. For Moscow, the heart of Russia, the war has finally come home. The signs are everywhere. Along the Moscow-St. Petersburg highway, cars snake in long lines at fuel stations. Russia, one of the world's largest energy exporters, is now struggling with shortages. Ukrainian drones have crippled fuel depots and refineries, and even Russia's most important cities are feeling the pain. The elites who once thought war was something distant are realizing they won't just lose access to fuel for their cars. They may soon lose their vacations abroad as sanctions close in even harder. Just recently, the Kremlin made a humiliating request to the United Nations. In a letter to the International Civil Aviation Organization, Russia pleaded for sanctions relief, warning that without spare parts, its planes might literally begin to fall from the sky. Boeing and Airbus aircraft, they admitted, can no longer be maintained. If deaths occur, Russia warned, the blood would be on the UN's hands, not Putin's. It was a desperate attempt at guilt-tripping the world. When asked about this, retired General Ben Hodges had little sympathy. While Russian missiles rained down on Ukrainian cities, he argued, the idea of Aeroflot planes being grounded should not concern the West. If they want working planes, he said bluntly, maybe they should stop building rockets to kill Ukrainians and use those resources for maintenance instead. This is the essence of the siege of Moscow. Ukraine doesn't need to surround the city with tanks. By striking railways, depots, warehouses, and infrastructure, and by enforcing sanctions that choke Russia's economy, Ukraine is achieving the same result, cutting supply lines and tightening pressure. And the Russian people who once watched this war from afar are now the ones paying the price. The drone attack on Moscow itself underscored that reality. 10 explosions shook the city. Airports shut down. Planes circled low in the skies and panic spread. One aircraft flew so low it skimmed just above 10-story buildings. Reports suggest it had been ordered to stay beneath drone altitude to avoid being mistaken for a hostile target by Russia's own jittery air defenses. A stark reminder of how fragile Moscow security has become. Videos captured the chaos. Drones flying over the city, smoke rising from strikes, and Russian authorities scrambling to cover up the damage. But new laws now ban citizens from sharing footage of attacks inside Russia. It's a desperate attempt by the Kremlin to keep its people in the dark, to hide just how badly the war is going. Putin himself revealed his frustration months ago at a press conference. When BBC correspondent Steve Rosenberg asked him bluntly whether Russia was still safe, the Russian leader lashed out, furious and defensive. He blamed NATO, the West, anyone but himself. But what Russians never saw, because the exchange wasn't broadcast inside the country, was how rattled he looked when confronted with the truth. And so, the siege continues. Moscow is not yet starving, but its fuel is running low, its skies are unsafe, and its leader hides behind excuses while his people begin to feel the real weight of a war he unleashed. The question now is how long they will endure before they too begin to ask whether it was worth it.